Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a loom knit headband. So the materials you'll need is obviously some yarn. This is some pretty thick yarn. I just like making my headbands out of yarn like this because it makes it extra warm. And then what I also like to use is a button, just to give it a little bit more character. You'll need some scissors, a yarn needle, and obviously your loom. Now you can use any size loom. I just like doing this size because it'll be about this wide. And I feel like that's perfect for a headband. Okay, so the first thing that you'll do is make a slip knot. Just like that. I hope it's easy to see against my white background, but I guess we will see. And then you'll be placing that on your anchor peg. Oh, and tighten it. So first things first is we are going to be casting on, and I cast on using the basic E-wrap cast on. You can hold your loom like this when you're working with it, but I personally like to hold it like this and wrap it. So first things first is you want to wrap from the front, or from the back to the front. You do not want to wrap from the front to the back because it'll look like that. And you want only one loop on your peg. So to start, back to front, and you will go until your last peg. See how I'm holding it sideways? It just makes it easier to wrap, and I like it. So with this, I'm just going to go to the next one till we have 2 loops on our pegs. Now, because this is our last peg, I will take the bottom, push it over the top. And then what I'll do now is I just take the bottom over the top. And I do that all the way around. All the way around. And now is we are just going to push the yarn down. Oh. Another thing to note as well is your thickness. Your yarn thickness does matter when making these headbands and loom knitting. So if I was to use a thinner yarn than this, there would be bigger holes in between my stitches. And some patterns you do want something like that, but with headbands, I think the tighter the stitch, the better. That's why I'm using a thicker yarn. So because we ended on this stitch, I am going to start wrapping the stitch next to it like that. And we are just going to wrap until we get to our last peg. You should always only have 2 loops on your hook, or on your pegs. And then just flip the bottom over the top once again, and you will repeat those 3 steps over and over again until your desired length. And the length that I like to do is about 20 inches long. So once again, we got to that last peg, and now we are going to push down the yarn. Now this is what our project should look like so far. Now once you do about 1 or 2 more rows, you'll want to take your anchor peg off. If you don't take your anchor peg off, or if you don't take your yarn off of your anchor peg, your project will be bunched up because it'll be tied to this. Now you will be repeating those steps. So the steps are: wrap your pegs, take the bottom over the top, push down the yarn, and redo it all. I will meet you back here when your project is about 20 inches long. Have fun! So now that my project is about 20 inches long, this is where we are going to cast off. So now you want to make sure that you have a really long tail. Pretty long. And then you're just going to cut it. Now how I like to cast off, because we are going to be cinching the this end closed, is grab your yarn needle and thread it through. And then what we are going to be doing, putting the yarn needle through, and taking that off. And we'll be doing that all the way around, just like that. And this is the last one. Oh, that's one way to do it. And then pull through. See how it'll bunch up? And then we're just gonna pull that tight. Do from here is now we are going to fold in each corner into the center, just like this. So what I like to do as well is to kind of pinch it, because I think it looks cuter. And what I'm going to do is just sew that little crease into it. So just go from one side to the other. I'm going to do it one more time, I think. Okay. So what you can do is that this is the tail from the very beginning. This is the other side of your project. Is you can use that, and you can do the same process as we did to get it off our loom. Is just loop it through every single stitch, just like this. You don't have to do this. You can use this tail if the first original tail is too short. You can definitely use part of the yarn that we used to close the other side. Okay, so I'm just closing the other side with that tail. Doesn't matter that it looks like that because it's going to be hidden. And what I like to do is just sew them together like this, and you will just be connecting them. Now, because we are using that first original tail, it's going to be kind of short, so I'm just going to tie it off in this. Don't forget we are going to be putting a button, and so it looks like a mess right now, but it'll look better later on. Then I'm going to be picking up that first original long piece that we cut when we were casting off and finish tying with this. Just because it's longer and I can tie more and make it look more presentable. Now what I like to do as well is flip it so this is the front, because the area that you tie these together looks kind of sloppy. See, that's not the prettiest. So I just turn it inside out, so this is the inside. And I'm just going to continue to tie until I feel it looks the best. Okay, so I like how that looks. I'm not going to cut my yarn just yet, but I'm going to stick my needle right in that center so it comes out the middle. Now depending on your button, you might have to use a smaller yarn, or you could even hot glue it. I might just hot glue it in this case because this yarn's way too thick to fit through those holes. I didn't even think about that till just now, so I might just hot glue it. I think I am going to do that. But if you don't have a glue gun, because I wasn't planning on using it in the beginning, you can just get a smaller thread or a thinner yarn and just go through the holes on your button and just tie it to it. But my yarn's way too thick. And there you have it, your loom knit headband.